This is a wood-burning stove, and I installed it in my goldfish greenhouse to help heat the space virtually for free. This is free wood from my yard. And in this video, I'm gonna show you guys how I installed this thing and the temperature effect it's having on this place. It is currently 83 degrees in this greenhouse, and right next to it, it's like crazy hot. And it's like 50 degrees outside. So this thing is really packing a punch to help heat this place up and keep it safe for my goldfish. So let's get into the video. So the first step in installing any kind of heating appliance is choosing where you want it to be. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of space in this greenhouse, so I can't have a nice large area just for the wood stove to take up. So it is moderately close to these water tubs, closer than, a recommended distance for something that's combustible. Now, later on in the video, you will see me actually put these cinder blocks right around it to kind of help heat protect it. But nothing I'm doing in this video is like too code fire rated for a dwelling with humans. This is just how I did my hack job to get a wood stove in my greenhouse, get it burning, get it generating heat. So take it with a grain of salt. So the first step is forming your chimney pipe, the single wall chimney pipes that will not be coming in contact with any kind of wall or any kind of object. Now, the nice thing about these sections of chimney pipe is the longer this part is, the more heat you're actually going to radiate out into your greenhouse. Because these single wall chimney pipe sections get crazy hot, just them being there, having, carrying up the exhaust up out of it will allow a lot of convection to happen, and you are going to get a little more heat radiated through the greenhouse. Now, if you've never installed one of these like me, these can be kind of tricky to lock in place and form the very first time. But after you fiddle around with it for a good 10 minutes, you should get it. So next, I actually got this mini heat reclaimer and started putting some furnace cement around the base of it to attach it to one of those pieces of the stovepipe. Now, I heard a lot of mixed reviews on this. Some people say it works really well. It helps, get a lot of more additional heat into the space. Other people have said, oh, it didn't work that well, or it caused too much creosote buildup. I just figured, let's give this a shot. Let's give it a try, see if I can get, a little more efficiency out of this system. Now, basically what this is, for those that don't know, it's basically like a little mini heat exchanger, which is just going to be blowing some air through the exhaust of the stove to get a little more heat out of it when the stove hits a certain temperature. So it's thermostatically controlled, and a fan just kicks on, and it blows against the exhaust tube, or like the stove tube, to get some heat out of it. So it can just allow more heat to be in your space versus escaping out the flue. After I attached the heat reclaimer to the first section of the stovepipe, I then put the stovepipe onto the stove itself, and then again, using some self-tapping metal screws, attached it to the stove. Now, you can get any kind of self-tapper metal screws. I actually had a bunch left over from my greenhouse build, and it's those I'm using to attach all these pipes together, along with the furnace cement to seal up any gaps so smoke and stuff doesn't get out. And then from here, I continue to add more sections of single wall chimney pipe all the way until I'm almost at the roof line, and I'm always doing the crimped side down. I read you're supposed to do that, so if there's any creosote dripping or water dripping, it always drips and stays inside the pipe. And the reason, I think for a greenhouse you want to have as much single wall chimney as possible is because this is going to be radiating out all that heat. So you want to go all the way up to the roof or close to the roof, and that is the point at which you're then going to transition to your triple wall chimney. This is the part that's coming in contact with your actual roof, but that means we got to drill a hole for this thing. So to cut my hole, it was very simple. I got a piece of cardboard and I just traced out the hole size of this chimney. I then went onto the roof of the greenhouse, and I'll be honest, I just eyeballed it. I eyeballed directly where that hole would be, if it went directly down onto the existing chimney there. And I drilled a couple holes, and I got my little Sawzall thing out, or what is this called? My jigsaw, and I cut a circle. And you're going to have to adjust the circle a little bit because it's actually going to be kind of an oval shape because of the slant of the roof. And then I just stuck the chimney pipe through there, and boom, I was able to connect it in the base, and this way we have the nice hot single wall chimney going up, and then as we get close to the roof, we transition to this triple wall chimney. And the reason why it's so important to have this triple wall chimney is that, the first wall on the very inside of it contains all the hot gases, and then there's a layer of insulation, and then there's the second wall, and then so that kind of insulates and keeps all that hot stuff there, and then there's a big air gap, so that air gap also is a lot of insulation, and then there's the third final wall on the outside. So by the time you get to the outside wall, it is not nearly as hot as anything. It's like it's actually cool to the touch, and this is safe to put up against the roof, I think. Don't sue me if I'm wrong. And then for any little gaps and cracks, we hit it with that little spray foam just to kind of seal things up. And I just got this little thing called a storm collar. They sell this as part of the kit. I just put this on there to kind of help stop stuff from getting in there as well. I'm probably going to put some silicone sealant around this as well, just to kind of hold everything together and make it watertight. And then you want to add the little venting thing, the little thing that stops rain from coming in there, the top of the chimney. And you got yourself a little chimney on your greenhouse. Now again, I cannot stress enough how much of an amateur I am, and this is my very first time doing this, and you should not be just seeing this video and doing it on your own structure. Again, fire can be very dangerous. You could burn whatever you're trying to have down. That's just a risk I'm taking. But definitely do your own research. Do not take anything I say as fact. But anyway, now it's time to start our fire. And a lot of people were asking after I posted a video of this on my shorts, why build a wood stove? Why have a wood stove in the greenhouse when you already have the diesel heaters? The fuel for this is free. The fuel for this, I got wood lying around everywhere around here. I've cut down a lot of trees that were overgrown all over the place, and there's constantly trees that are dying and, just wood all over the place. So it would take me years and years to go through all the wood that I need to go through, even from just the trees that are dying around here. So I figured if I got a free fuel source from my land, might as well make the most of it so I save some money on diesel. And when I got this thing going, let me tell you, it got hot. It got very, very hot. And also, the next day, I was just burning all day with it. I got the temperature up to like over 87 degrees, which in November, that's a lot. For a 1,000 square foot greenhouse, to get that thing up to 87 degrees when the outside temperature is 50, that's a lot, because this place has like virtually no insulation, and I'm not even getting that much sunlight because the trees are blocking it a lot. So it really can put out quite a bit of heat. This is definitely going to save me when any deep frosts come my way. Now I know some of you guys are thinking, Luke, you got the wood stove going, but what was the point of the diesel heaters? Didn't you make videos showing you setting up these diesel heaters? Yes, I did, and the diesel heaters are working great. They are definitely keeping the place stable and warm, but as we get into the deep winter, I don't think they're going to be enough to keep the water temperature at 55 degrees. That is my goal. My goal is to maintain a water temperature of 55 degrees. And right now, it's at like 66 or 67, which is pretty good, but I know as we get more into December, and sunlight gets even less and less, I'm going to need even more heating, and that's where this thing comes in. And the reason I want to keep it at 55 and above is not really for the goldfish. The goldfish will be okay, is I don't want my plants to start dying. I have a lot of plants that really won't grow that well and will kind of start shutting down if we get to like the sub 55 degree temperatures. And when this wood stove is going full blast, like it's going right now, like it's putting out so much heat, I think it's like over 50,000 BTUs. So this right here is actually putting out more heat than both of the diesel heaters combined. So the nice thing is that I could probably turn the diesel heaters down for a little bit. I could save money on diesel and just continue burning wood that I have almost an infinite supply of, and just, save a lot of money and heat a majority of the greenhouse this way. But the thing is, when I'm out of town, or, if I just don't have the time to constantly load it with wood, because I got to load it a couple times a day if I want to get a good use out of it, then I'll just run the diesel heaters as like a little backup, a little easier, because I can run those for over 2 days before having to refill them. This thing is a lot more active. I kind of have to always be in here adding wood, but I'm getting as much heat as those things. And honestly, it feels nicer. It just feels nice to be in here when this thing's going.
Look at those red hot coals.
And also on these blocks here, which is nice, I can put a piece of wood and they actually get nice and warm and they begin to dry out. So if you have some that are still a little bit wet, that need to do a little bit of drying, I just put them right here and that toasts them right up and gets them ready. And I have a little bowl of water here that's just mildly boiling. That's just, again, releasing heat into the air. Another thing I want to show you that's pretty cool is this heat reclaimer. So it's on right now. There's a little fan in the back of it that's blowing through those holes. And if we look at the temperature of the exhaust pipe right here, look at that. We're like 550 degrees. We're hot, hot. And then when we go past it, look at that. We're 430 degrees. Did you all see that? 560 degrees, 425 degrees. So we're getting like a 140 degree drop, and that's because this thing is blowing out some hot air. There's a little fan, so this is like a little mini space heater, and we're just extracting some extra heat out. Now you don't want to extract too much because then you get condensation and creosote buildup in the pipe here, but it's thermostatically controlled. It should, hopefully, not extract too much to have a crazy amount of creosote build up very fast. All right, guys, but yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you think. Will this plus my 2 diesel heaters be enough to maintain a 55 degree water temperature through the dead of winter? I think I will be able to do it. I think. It honestly depends on if we have like one of those random polar vortex cold snaps where it goes to like -5 or -10 degrees for multiple days. If we have one of those, I may be in a little bit of trouble here, but I will let you guys know. We got 1,000 square feet. We have, 50,000 BTUs when we're going full blast there. Those ones, honestly, are probably like 15,000 each when they're both going, like realistically. So we'll see if that can do it, combined with the power of the sun and the thermal storage capacity of all of this water and concrete and gravel.